We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, here with Lee down in the Fungeon for another episode of the building of an epic 40k table. That's right, it's an epic 40k table, comma. I had actually quite a few comments about that.
Yeah.
Me addressing the fact that I'm sorry that it sounds like an epic 40k. So I'm not going to go into that again because we discussed that last week. There's been a lot of progression since last week, and the funny thing is, like for us, we just put up the video for the first level, and so now we've got the second level to show and other things as well. And Lee has been busy at work fulfilling our dreams of making a really cool table.
So it's epic.
You might say it's epic, and you might say it's 40k.
Yeah.
And you may also say it's a table. But you would definitely put commas between each of those words. So, what did we add this week? Really quickly, and then we'll zoom in.
Well, I finished the second level. Added the
superstructure of the second level?
Yeah. And this whole thing here is new. Landing platform, little area. And I added more stuff to the crane.
Okay.
It doesn't squeak.
So it doesn't squeak. Oh, did you do the whole thing that the one guy suggested? Or did you come up with your own solution?
I just evened it out the weight.
Oh, I see. So it's not like pulling it down.
But I'm probably going to put some...
You know what? Let's start there. Let's start at the crane. So we've seen this before, but what did you add?
Well, I added some Prometheum
pipes
and some Prometheum generators.
Oh, the generators.
Yeah.
Those are cool. Spin it a little further. There we go. Perfect.
I'm going to pull it out and show you. And then I added these on top. I haven't even glued this one in yet.
So how complete are we? Like, it looks like it's got plenty of detail on it. Do you plan on anything else to it?
Some things I'm going to put... Because I'm going to put chains. Because I ordered some chains.
Well, that's true. I guess would need something to actually pull.
Yeah.
Although I guess that could technically all be internal, right?
And yeah, but I want it external.
Right.
Because it looks cool.
Because it looks even cooler.
But I got thinking, I think it was yesterday, what if it actually worked?
Oh, jeez. Are you going to attach a motor to it?
Maybe not a motor, but a winch. So just like, move it over.
Out of all the things you can make functional on the table, you choose the crane. I like it.
Yeah.
People are like, you should add lights. You're like, no, a working crane in our turn-based miniature war game.
Yeah.
Hey, it's cool. I'm not going to tell you no. Don't know why I would. So you might, okay, so you have chain, at the very least, you're going to be adding chains to it. And you still obviously have the actual claw part.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a claw. I've actually figured out what I'm going to use. What is this?
So is it like a magnet kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm going to put a magnet in the bottom.
No, I don't mean like a real magnet.
Yeah, but it's going to be a magnet thing. It's not going to be a claw.
Right, so it's picking it up based on magnetism rather than clawing it and destroying it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're mostly picking up metal things. Heck, it's 40k. Everything's made of metal.
Yeah.
So...
Even the plastic's made out of metal.
Even the plastic's made out of... Yeah, it's plasteel, right?
Yeah.
They even call it plasteel. And
so this is going to be the hook thing with a magnet.
And then what do you plan on actually having for the very bottom of it? Just like sort of like plastic lid or something?
I'm not sure. It might even just be like this with the magnet in it.
Oh, like just with a real magnet?
Yeah. And then put magnets on some of our crates and just...
Oh, so you can actually pick them up that way?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that looks. I'm sure
it'll...
Yeah, it might actually just work that way. So that's the crane. So probably like, what, 80% done for the non-painting part of this?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I haven't even thought about painting anything. I'm just building.
Yeah, no, you don't want to have to worry about that yet. Except to make sure that the painting is awesome.
There we go.
Okay, so that's the crane. So one of my things that I had wished for was something that can hold a Thunderhawk.
Yep.
And you did that, because these things, technically, if you don't put all the sides on, a Thunderhawk would fit on here, but it would be...
Yeah, or if you glue the sides down, it's down out to here.
Yeah, but it would be overhanging pretty far. And so you decided to build this big one. What's this built out of?
This is... I'll just pull it off real quick.
Yeah, this is not attached,
no,
so...
I'll put magnets in it. So this is... foam core. Cutting out a hexagon is not as easy as people would think.
Because it's hard to get at perfect angles?
Yeah, this isn't even perfect.
Because they're not right angles.
No. So it's foam core with plastic card strips on it. And I put some granny grading down
Yes, granny grading, that's the stuff for cross-stitching?
Yeah.
I want to get it right. Not crocheting, because Holly does. My wife does cross-stitching and crocheting, so yeah, it's cross-stitching. The stuff where
It's
you...
also known as plastic canvas.
Plastic canvas?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give as many names as possible because I know in different countries, you're going to get all sorts of different names. That was always a frustrating thing when I'd look up terrain tutorials years and years ago. People would be like, just use blah-de-blah. And I looked it up and I'm like, what is blah-de-blah?
Yeah.
And you find it at your local hardware store and you're like, oh, you meant blah-de-blah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
So granny grading,
I decided
plastic
to
canvas.
Use the granny grading instead of my tape because it's sturdy and gives it more, makes it more rigid.
It's also a larger area too, right?
Yeah.
It's easier to line up. Now, okay, you said cutting a hexagon was hard. So what advice would you give people who want to cut hexagons? Because circles, obviously, you use a compass to draw it out, and then you just cut it as best as you can.
What I did, I printed out a hexagon. I found a hexagon picture online and just lined up the corners and extended them
Right.
and just cut it out.
So that would cut you the angle then.
Yeah.
Because I noticed on the back, if you flip it over again, that you got that star. Was that one of the original ideas, or is that
Yeah,
something
because I got it wrong, and then because you see the measurements are all different,
Right.
but the corners are correct.
But
Yeah, I know.
that is,
I know. I know.
if your angles are correct, they should all be the same size.
Yeah, but if this one's longer and that one's shorter, it evens out.
Of course. But then the angles wouldn't be perfect 60 degrees. Yeah, because there's 6 of them, so 60 degrees. You know, if you didn't have that part of it, if you flipped it over, I would never have guessed that it wasn't a perfect hexagon. It's a hexagon, all right?
Yeah.
It was made in the 41st millennium,
Yeah.
where they don't know how to do anything anymore unless it's in an STC. So clearly, they lost their hexagon making STC.
If you're gonna cut out a hexagon, be prepared for having issues with it. Because I just cut it out on the foam core, but I should have cut it out on a piece of just throwaway cardboard to get it even before I did it.
Right. So you
Because this
don't
is an
wreck the
actual
foam core.
material you use. So if you have like throwaway, like I have tons of boxes and stuff, I should have done that.
So as a stencil almost, or as a template.
So if it's not even, you can actually.
Yeah, because foam core is not super cheap.
No.
It's not expensive, but when you're building something this big, and that's like a full sheet of foam core that you could end up ruining if you're not careful with that. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Because it used to be bigger, because I had to cut it down. And every time you correct it, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right, and then all of a sudden it's just a baby Thunderhawk that can fit on it, and that's just a no-go. Just a little Thunderhawk, like one from like Battlefield Gothic or something. So that goes right here, and now that's part of the platform for it.
Yeah.
And so you ended up using this is from the Sector Mechanicus stuff, the normal.
It's from the.
And
I think it's Sector Mechanicus. Yeah.
Well, it's all Sector Mechanicus. Yeah. The specific kit. There's different ones that have this, but it's basically the parts that the bridge. What do you call these? Trusses, whatever.
I'm not sure.
The bottom part, the things that hold up all the platforms and everything. So you just have 3 of those put together, but they're not just 3 put together. You had to shave them down too to get the right size. Is that right?
No, these are actually just out of the box.
Oh, really?
Clean.
It just worked out to be the right size?
So 2 bastions and 1 Imperial wall is exactly 3 of those.
I highly doubt that they designed it that way.
No way.
But that is quite the coincidence.
Yeah.
That is quite the interesting coincidence. It's like, yeah, you know what? Make sure that if they do 2 bastions on top of each other, and it's not even just like 2 bastions that are extended, because that would be a different height.
Yeah.
If you just like tack this onto that, 2 bastions on top of each other, plus that one other kit that we have, that needs to line up perfectly to 3 of these.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, they probably do always work in like 6s or 3s or 2s or things like that. So that might be why it has a good lineup
I haven't
factor.
measured it, but yeah, that might be right.
Well, I think the bastions are 6 inches, and I think most of their other things are 3 inches. And so, but I don't know why 3 of these would then. I don't know. I'm out. But
I'm done. Cut.
Yeah, because then that would be 5 inches, and then that just breaks my whole
You could
thing.
just measure it.
There's that too. So then you've got that. So we got the second layer done. So why don't we pull that apart? And actually, let's take a look at this building first. So this is an example of the modularity I keep talking about. You notice that I could just take this off of the top, and this will actually function as its own piece of terrain once it's finished, of course. And it looks like here. What are the kits that we have here? What did you use for the main outsides?
The Cities of Death.
The Cities of Death one?
Yeah.
The ones that are basically Lego pieces for making buildings.
Yeah, it's just the Sector of Death.
Yeah, because when you look at it, each of these panels is a piece.
Yeah.
And so you can line them up.
It took a while to put together.
But it does allow you to have nice variety in your walls.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of set all of that. And then this is not this is not Cities of Death.
Oh, this is Sector Imperialis.
And that lined up that nicely, eh?
Yeah, after I sawed it down.
Oh, okay, so that one you had to modify.
But
Where'd you
still-
saw it?
Let's see. I actually have one here. Excuse me.
Looking closer at this, then we have one of the antennas, or whatever you want to call these, one of the gas exhausts, just for a little decoration on the top. These things are
can't find
pointy. You can't find it?
No. But yeah, here's the piece I cut off though, because it has like the
Oh, it has that little thing at the bottom.
and the top.
So you cut off this from the bottom,
That from the top,
and that from the top.
and then it actually fit perfectly with the walls.
Clearly as designed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just had to take a pair of clippers to them to do what they clearly were designed for. You know what? No, I'm not. Hopefully, this doesn't sound like we're knocking this terrain, because this stuff is really, it works really well together.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, these bastions have been out for a long time.
Yeah.
The Sky Shield landing pad is an old kit as well. The Cities of Death stuff is even old. And then you'll have all this new Sector Mechanica stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way for them to anticipate every way that you're going to combine these kits. So the fact that you can create this kind of stuff with all of them just by...
The fact that I have to cut off both the top and the bottom, and then the middle piece fits.
Yeah, because you can see that they're still using the same measurement for levels.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about there. And I wouldn't be surprised if this pretty much lines up to what the measurement of the bastion is. Kind of that 3-inch standard is always nice. I remember like playing 40K before, and we always would say no matter what the level looked like, we always treated it as 3 inches for movement purposes. And so it's just interesting to see that. Okay, so we have all this. This basically is just, it's what it looks like. You take the pieces and you put it together. There's just a bit of finagling with the corner piece, which I think is a really neat addition.
Yeah, I wanted to add some, because I don't want everything just to be square. So,
Yeah.
And this is just one silo. Because this is just...
Oh, that's just 2 halves of the same silo. Can you show that? Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't notice that. I actually pictured it just going inside of there.
Yeah.
But you made it so it's on the outside.
And one
So
top.
you're economized on parts just by having the 2 halves be sawn and then using both of them.
And I put Promethium, the plasma conduits
Right.
here, and added this.
And then the whatever that is, the exhaust
And I
port.
I'm not sure, because there's going to be a building in the middle. I might actually add some more stuff, but that's going to be a separate
To connect
piece.
to the other building? Ooh, that would look cool. Yeah, this is not the final thing. Like, he's got, this will be right there, and then there's going to be another. Do you think it's going to be a bigger building over here?
Yeah.
Bigger and taller?
Yeah, it's because it's going to have landing shields on it.
Oh, another landing shield. That's right, because we had sketched out having one over there too.
Yeah.
That'll
I'm
look so
probably
cool.
going to have, like, one on the top. The top is probably going to be a landing
Right.
shield.
For like the
and then
super special.
One or two sticking out.
That'll look so cool. That'll look so cool. Yeah, because this is already looking cool. Like I'm starting to see it come together. Obviously, there's stuff that we got to do to the board itself to make it more interesting. So then finally we've got the actual second level superstructure. Now I have a funny feeling this is going to be very familiar to those who watched the last video where I showed the first level superstructure. But just for sake of that, let's pull it apart,
It's actually 2 pieces.
just like the other one.
It does have a straight section on it, because of the gate.
Yeah, the gate's straight.
You can see like there. But it's just foam core, cut to shape, put in.
So the same as before. So just flip it around for a second. Actually, it's on the inside. So on the inside, you can see that he
Yeah.
cuts.
just lined
He
it
gets
up.
through one so that he can then bend them this way.
Yeah.
So you don't go through all the way. And that way you don't have to re-glue them all together.
Yeah, this is one solid piece. And I'm going to be adding like stairs and stuff.
And as a reminder as well, in between each of these is plastic card to kind of make up for these small changes
'cause
and turns, which they were not intended to do. You can see that they're supposed to lock together, and you can see that up here, how they all lock together so nicely. They even have the little tabs ready to be locked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because they're supposed to be straight or 90 degrees.
right.
That's the thing.
Which makes it really easy. I got to say, the bastion kits make it really easy. If all you do is buy a bunch of bastion kits to make really cool looking buildings,
Yeah.
you need no other kits. You can just stick them together, and you can make multi-level buildings. And because I remember doing that once, and then I ruined them by accident by painting them incorrectly. But still, I remember how easy it was to create these really neat looking buildings that are very playable as well because of all the big areas. Okay, so we've got 2 of those. The other one's just the same thing but mirrored. And then we've got the foam core superstructure.
Yeah, upper level.
So same idea as the one on the bottom,
Yeah.
where you have the latticing underneath. Is there going to be more added to?
I don't think so, because these are holding actually pretty well.
So you don't think you're going to need to reinforce it at all?
No.
Not worried about warping or anything?
Because this shouldn't have to be painted.
Because it'll be hidden?
Yeah. because I have to paint like a strip up here where the floor meets. Because yeah, I put down with a pen where it ends. So yeah.
Yeah, the top will have to be painted.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the sides, because really, if you're exposing that side, then you're going to have to do a lot more detail to it, period. Otherwise, why expose it at all? Yeah, because I can see like this thing will be used on its own, so the back of that will have to be thought about.
Yeah.
But that thing will only be used if it's covered in the front.
And if you take these out, you can actually just put it down here. You can actually put the walls back on.
And then just have it be an interior.
Yeah. Which is, it's gonna work because I'm gonna put details on the
back,
on the
top.
back here, and I probably should put some details on this.
Well, if you want that to work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's going to be a requirement because, you know, it's just we just don't do that if that's not completed. It just depends on all the time factor, right? There's always more you can do to make it even more modular. But it is cool that there's all these different ways that you can make your train modular. So you can make an epic table, but still consider its usefulness after you get tired of looking at it.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. So let's put it all back together for one final shot, and then we'll say goodbye until next week. So there you have it, folks. There is the next progression in the making of an epic 40K table. So just one or two more questions for you. How is it coming along for the amount of terrain that you are working through, like kits and stuff? Is it going roughly as you had estimated in the beginning, or are you using more or using less?
Well, having all the abundance of kits really helps. So if I need a certain bit from one kit, I can just open it and just leave it. But yeah, I'm tearing through these kits pretty fast.
So you think you're going to use all of them by the end?
Probably not all of them, but most of them.
And you'll have a lot of leftover bits to make other stuff with, right? Because a lot of these kits have way more.
Yeah.
It's kind of like putting together an army. You're going to be left over with a mountain.
Stuff, so.
Exactly. And so that's kind of nice for all the future train projects that we have all this stuff. So thank you, Games Workshop, for that. And because it'll allow us to really build a lot more stuff too. Now, you had mentioned off camera as we were putting this together that the original idea behind this pad was that it would be one solid building.
Yeah.
So what made you change your mind?
Well, I built it was going to be like solid walls down. The first thing that changed what I was going to do was my sketch, the one we showed in the first video. The scale's wrong.
Right. In what way?
So what happened is this piece got thinner because of scale, and the platforms are way bigger.
The Sky Shield landing pads are bigger than you thought? Or than were put on the picture?
Yeah. So this building, I mean, on the sketch, this building should be over here. It should be here.
Oh, I see.
That's how far it should be.
And so you'd have all that much more space to play on.
Yeah. So I decided, I built the roof and put it on and thought, why don't I just put struts on it and
Call it a day.
call it a day. So yeah, that's what I went for. And then we do have more playability underneath.
Yeah, also it's more cinematic too, to have that multi-levels where things are actually going on underneath terrain.
Yeah.
Like we're getting the multi-levels of things going up, but what's even more fun is when you have things going on underneath other pieces of terrain. Once again, not always the easiest thing to play with, getting your hands in there, but it does make for a very cinematic experience, which I love.
Yeah, but yeah, if you can get around it, I mean, like from here, you can reach in.
Sure. Oh yeah. It's just always a little harder because there might be other models in the way or who knows what.
And we've been getting a lot of comments about putting LEDs.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to. But where do I draw the line? Because I was actually talking to Adam yesterday. He came in.
From Greenleaf Terrain?
Yeah. And he told me how I could do the windows.
Right.
I can just get them printed at Staples. On plastic sheets.
You mean like clear?
Yeah.
So it's translucent, so the light's behind them.
I just had to get the sizes right, cut them out, glue them in, and done.
And all you need is white light behind it then.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about...
So the guards are probably going to have lights, like one in here and one in here, shining up. But then I was like, okay, what can I do?
Because if you do that, then it'll look like the rest of the table needs lights.
Yeah.
As soon as you add it to one place, it's like, well, why aren't there lights in the rest of the place?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because you could add it around, like, this kind of building, you could have lights shining up as well.
Yeah.
Or lights shining down.
Or both.
Or both.
But lights, I mean, these are all lights.
Yeah, those are technically lights. Yeah, so you can wire all that up.
Yeah.
There is no end to that, which would be super cool. But you remember, this is not a passion project that you work on for the next 2 years at home,
Exactly.
slowly adding each cool thing and getting the satisfaction from posting it on some forum and seeing people loving it. And so that kind of keeps you going. Like, this is like, there is a time limit, there is a price limit, and there is the pressure of what it is you're trying to create. So it's a different environment than doing something for yourself.
But there will be LEDs.
Okay. So we do the official response is yes to
At
LEDs.
least the towers and the inside of the actual building. Awesome.
And we love your suggestions, by the way. Comments. You actually notice that Lee actually is responding to some of the comments.
Yeah.
Like,
I do read them all. I
Yes.
check them every day. If I don't respond, it's probably because it's an idea I already have.
or because there's like a lot of comments. It's hard to respond to all the comments.
So keep them coming.
Yeah, because you have incorporated some ideas.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, I read them. I might change them, but yeah.
awesome. Okay, so that's this week's update of the Epic 40K table. Stay tuned for more updates. Remember, we're only like 3 weeks in now because this is the 4th episode.
Yeah, and I said 3 months.
Yeah, we said 3 months, so it looks like we're on track. It's hard to tell. It's like framing a house. The framing goes up so fast, and then all the finishing work takes a lot longer. So it's hard to really gauge how close you are. But it is nice to see that 3 weeks in, the main structure is coming along quite well.
Yeah, because I want to finish the main structure. Because I haven't even put the flippy tabs on this.
What do you think, in a couple more weeks for the main structure?
I'm not sure. Depends on what I decide to do.
Yeah, because it's going to be like this. There's still the Bane blade to convert. There's still another building to put up here. There's still all the finishing touches. Yeah, there's the 2 buildings. That's right, because there's the other one.
Yeah.
Then there's the actual board to finish as well, which may not take a lot of time depending on what you decide to do for it.
It's going to be hurry up and wait.
Right.
Because I have to glue it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this table is actually going to be the base for it.
Right.
I'm going to glue the styrofoam on top, which we haven't bought yet. And then I'm going to decide where everything is. So there might be like levels and stuff. So I might
The table itself might actually add some levels to everything.
I don't want it just to be a flat table with a thing on it.
Right. Although, honestly, with the amount of stuff that you're putting on there, that probably wouldn't even look bad either.
No.
But to add like a few more areas that have their own levels.
And people have been mentioning about the gate and the tracks, that I should put like notches under it. It's going to be lower.
Right, because it's going to be propped up.
Yeah, there will be a gap.
That's a good thought, though, for
Yeah.
people that are watching this. That you're
So-
not, but you have to remember that this is actually all going to be raised on top of styrofoam, so you'll have room to inset things. Are you thinking at all about using like because we still have more of these? Do you think you'll use these at all for the bottom?
I'm not sure.
Because they're all pre-made and nice and easy to plop down, but at the same time, there's not enough of them to cover everything, and they wouldn't necessarily match up to what you're doing. So
I'm probably going to cut them up and use some of it. But I'm thinking more as in for like the roof of a building.
right,
It'd be really cool to have like, because I'm pretty much out of roofs.
you've used all the roofs.
Yep. I even opened the other bastions to get the roofs out. Because there's only 2 roofs per 4 walls, right?
Oh, that's right. And so when we look at them, that's something that I didn't think about. That when you look at that, like
Each
you have
wall-
4 walls, but those 2 roofs, that's it. And so the next 2 roofs are from the next 4 walls, and so you can see that after a while you run out of roofs and not walls.
Yeah.
But you need roofs on every one of them.
Like this one has twice the roofs. Because these...
Yeah, this is 4 roofs. This is 4 bastions worth of roofs.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. But you're only using 2 bastions worth of walls. Right. So always an abundance of walls. But I guess that, when you're building certain buildings, you can take the walls and stack them just straight up to make tall things. So that's, other people might not have that problem.
It's something to bear in mind when you're...
When you're calculating it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would have just counted the number of walls. And
That's what I did.
then you didn't even think about that.
No. And then I was like, oh, I'm out of walls.
You're on roofs.
Out of
Out of roofs.
But I have like all these walls left.
Right.
But I was really lucky because I didn't count until I assembled the top wall. I was like, oh, I hope I have enough roofs. And I had exactly what I needed.
Well, that's pretty fortunate. Awesome. Okay, we're going to leave it here. Thanks so much for watching. Leave your comments below on how you like it and any suggestions or anything. And we will read those and we will take those into consideration. Still looking for somebody to reply and say that they'll send us a little miniaturized somebody, like a couple Space Marines playing Epic 40K.
Yeah.
Not Warhammer 40K. Epic 40K. That's the important caveat. Somebody needs to make a table, 2 Space Marines playing a game of Epic 40K. so that we can then explain why we've been calling it the Epic 40K table all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And it
right.
won't even be built by me.
No. That would be the best part. So if you're willing to do that, just let us know. Just let us know. Thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.